So this cat, who turns out he was only visiting. We couldn't hold on to him any longer. He was so nice at first.
That's how it happens a lot of the time.
He was so nice, and then at like 5:00, after we had all like real gotten used to him, and he had gotten like on all of us were like on his side. He just like
because he was a foster cat, right?
I don't know the exact situation that my mom had, but he was picked out because he was lovely and orange, and then after we had all been like this guy's a good egg, and then as my dad went to go up to his room. The cat like jumped and latched onto his hand, and my dad has like Shrek hands. Like he's got hands. He grabs like things right off the grill with his bare hands to be like that's still cold, and it's to puncture that means that this cat really was after him, like really.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like cats play
to get him.
and they'll like grab you with their legs and bite onto you, but they don't like latch, and it got him. At first, I won't lie, me and my mom were both of the opinion, you probably scared him. He's a sweet boy. He was so sweet. He was so sweet.
He had you fooled.
He was so sweet a few minutes ago that after we gave him a few minutes to calm down up there, my mom was like, I'm going to go check on him, and then you'll never guess what happened to her. She reached down, and that cat latched. It was like, ah! And it bit her so deep that... like, she's like, I feel it in my bones. Like, it was horrible. Right on the wrist.
Ooh.
She's still got a horrible bruise going up and down it.
Ooh.
And then we let him chill for a little while because we're like, okay, he was still scared, which is fine. Cats can be scared. Animals will react illogically when stressed. We gave him more time. We gave him a couple hours. And then my mom was sitting in her room, and the cat was giving all the cat body language of, I'm happy and nice. Tail flicking around a little bit, the slow eye blinks, looking at you, and then going to rub on you, and when he can't quite rub on you, he just curls his whole body around to let his belly show up on the...
Yeah, it's friendly cat behavior.
Yeah. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. She didn't even reach out to him while he's doing this. She is sitting down, he has come up and done all of this, and then he sees that she relaxed, I guess, and then right back onto her. Just
oh, man. Holy shit.
That's 3 unprovoked attacks in a row.
Holy shit. Get out of here. Yep. Sorry, man. 3 strikes. You're going back to wherever we found you.
Now, I bring all that up because I had a very interesting night with this cat, because obviously we're not going to just like throw it out into the night, just be like, be gone with ye, evil creature.
It's someone else's problem that's evil.
Yeah, but we got we got vulnerable people who like this cat could injure. And by that I mean all of us. We all have skin.
Yeah, an angry, deceitful cat.
And so we had to lock him up in the basement. And for those of you who are wondering, I am a disgusting basement man.
Basement goblin.
That's why I have the opinions I have, and I speak with the sureness that I do. It's because it comes from a deep level of patheticness, which has given me a lot of time to worry about these things that don't matter. That's why I'm so good at them. So anyway, I'm down there in my little area, cordoned off from the rest of the house, and every time that I need to go to the rest of the house for any reason, I work at night. So I'm awake all night, and then I go to sleep, and then I wake up late in the afternoon. And if I need to go out, I need to have the spray bottle in my hand, walking around
like a pistol,
like I'm being hunted by a xenomorph.
Keep that thing on you, man.
And it's bad because he was absolutely hunting.
Stalking, yeah.
And
yeah.
The one that got me, that made me oh shit, this cat, he'd slit my throat if he could.
Oh no.
Because I went out, and this time he didn't cause me any trouble. He didn't try to come at, because he was coming at me. That was the problem. If he was just chill, I would have been sorry kitty, I know, but you attacked people, so it's all good. It's sad, but we can't keep you. Instead of that, every time he sees me, just all the body language shifted, and he was in attack mode. But he was walking hunter style, he's trying, if I look at him, he stops. But also, if I moved too close to him.
Oh, man.
He was a very stressed out little kitty. We didn't need to do any of that. And then so I start walking away from him, and he starts, like, not playful bounding, like, oh, I'm a fun cat and I'm after you. Like,
Charging?
Charging.
So did you have to get him?
So I had to get him a few times.
I was going to ask, is this a Han shot first situation? Looks like it was. I'm glad.
And I didn't feel good about that. But this time that I went up, he didn't give me any problems. And I came back and I didn't even see him. And I was like, that's good. He probably found a little hidey hole. That'll be good. He can relax till morning. We don't need to have any more stress for either of us. And then this night was one of the nights that you guys were all playing, I think Baldur's Gate or Battlefield or something.
Battlefield, probably.
And so I was talking to everybody in the Discord.
Yeah.
Like on the voice chat. And as I'm talking, apropos of nothing, I look over my shoulder towards my doorway. And my doorway isn't a real doorway. It's more of a doorway that's been posted into position because we have an unfinished basement. So there's a large area that I can see, like, there's like an inch-long gap between the doorway and the wall. And I turn and I look, and the cat's watching me.
Oh, man. That's some serial killer behavior.
I didn't care for that shit at all.
Oh, man. Yo, he's gonna get your ass. And with that, welcome back to Scryer's Room. I am your host, Famfare.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mario.
And tonight, we're gonna go back into our One Piece series.
Yes, we're on part 3. Oops, all Usops.
Oops,
Which,
all
I don't think you planned it, but cats come up.
Yeah, this is a very cat-relevant.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
yeah, Kuro, yeah. This is as far as I got in One Piece in my most recent attempt.
That sounds fake. He legitimately didn't plan that.
I did not. No, this was just coincidentally. I had a night where I was just I was the crew of the Nostromo being hunted in the Alien movie, and now this arc is exactly that. So, One Piece. We just finished up the Buggy arc.
It really is. It's about a cat that tricks you into
It's
trusting
it's about a
him, and then he
tricky
gets
life,
you.
and then he gets you,
And then he gets your ass.
with
yeah.
no remorse.
Oh my god, this is literally...
Oh, man.
Wow, what a great prelude. That's funny.
I hope nobody loses their leg before I fucking have to get to the Sanji bit.
Oh no! Oh no!
So after the Buggy arc, we get to the I call it the Usop arc. It's Syrup Island arc. Presumably just because of how sweet and perfect everything is on this island. But I guess I just understood something. So I was looking briefly at some of the character designs for One Piece, and I didn't understand why on Syrup Island, Kaya's butler Klahadore, who we're going to be meeting a lot more, he has like what I assumed were 2 golden poos on his jacket.
Okay.
It's a pile of pancakes.
Oh. The syrup.
It shows up elsewhere in the town, and I just put it together.
Okay, that's fun.
Anyway.
He's also like a goat man.
Yeah. That, One Piece has a lot of kinds of guys in it.
A lot of interest.
Which goes unexplained for a very long time.
So, I think I said this when we first started. I have some wild-ass theories that I'm going to be building to for One Piece. Where I think One Piece is going, and like some of the things that are brought up. One of the things about that's brought up in this arc, importantly, is the first mention of Davy Jones. Davy Jones in our world, mythological figure of some renowned piracy. His whole deal is that his ship was sinking, and he made a deal potentially with the devil or some other whatever have you, and now he sails the ocean floor for all time in his ship, the Flying Dutchman. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
That's why he's in SpongeBob and stuff. Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
First mention of Davy Jones. It doesn't matter in this one. They just send you down to Davy Jones.
Okay.
But Davy Jones becomes important later in One Piece.
Interesting.
The Davy backfights are important, and we find out that some characters in the backstory are related to Davy Jones. But we don't get to that for like 1,000 more chapters.
Hey.
So, before we get into that, let's get into the Syrup Island arc. This is the perfect time to start examining the thing that One Piece really relies on a lot, which is, I mean, it's good, but it's character, rather than like lore or just drama. drama comes from character a lot, but drama is also like, I mean, we've all seen soap operas and things. Sometimes it's very manufactured.
Yeah, like deliberate misunderstandings that could have easily been avoided, but for the sake of the plot, they weren't.
Yeah, and that's not going to be a thing in One Piece, like, particularly. So, one thing I want to establish, I've said it a little bit before, my belief in writing is that what I mean by good is effectiveness and enjoyment. Sometimes you make compromises on one or the other, but, like, those are the stats that make up if something's good to me. If you have enough of one, you don't need any of the other particularly, but you spice that to taste. You can't just rely only on one.
Yeah. Because things can be extremely effective, but then they become cliche and therefore not enjoyable.
Exactly.
And then something can be enjoyable, but like
then there's no
it's
stakes.
hard to follow. And then you're like, then there's no stakes. Yeah. Which is comfort fantasy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of anime and isekai even these days is comfort fantasy. There are basically no stakes. They like manufacture like, oh look, something's gonna happen, but in your heart of hearts, unless you've turned your brain off, which is what you're supposed to do when you're watching these things, you know nothing is going to actually happen.
You know that the main character with their broken isekai power is going to go solve it.
And then make friends with the guy, and then, whatever.
And then some other character who is the human embodiment of a hentai genre
God bless.
will also fall in love with the main character.
Yeah, just another,
Or 5.
Yeah.
Which, comfort fantasy. So, it goes on a kind of a spectrum of those two things.
An extremely sad scene where like a character goes to the worst thing possible can still be good in this regard. Like, you might not enjoy it. There's no enjoyment in the scene, but it can be effective. So, one of the big things that I have is like a movie's emotional core can be spoiled by undercutting the effective like emotional beats with uninspired levity. And that's like a thing that happens a lot in Marvel.
Bathos. They call this bathos instead of pathos. Yes.
Pathos is when you feel the emotion. Bathos is when they just cut it out from under you.
Marvel loves this shit. There'll be like some dramatic thing will happen, and then Tony Stark says some quippy stuff, and you're like, Tony,
Yeah.
But Marvel loves this shit. In fact, much to its detriment now.
Yeah.
They keep doing it in situations where they make characters, they force this on people. Anyway.
That's the thing, though. It comes from an earlier time in Marvel writing where they had a stronger character to draw from, because Tony Stark undercutting those scenes with like him, like we have an army, and then he's like, we have a Hulk. Him undercutting that is because what he's doing is trying to defend himself and his ego and trying to make it like, this isn't serious, I'm not in danger right now, because he is in danger.
And part of what makes that effective for characters like Tony Stark is that, like, he's supposed to be a nerd at the end of the day. I mean, he's a playboy, but he's still a nerd. So when it comes to, like, the Giga Chad hyper-masculine characters...
he doesn't meet them on that level.
He can't fight them on that level. So instead, he quips at them like a gentleman, like a scholar, because that's how he has to fight with his intellect. But, like, there are times where they'll have a character who is kind of like a super strong, like, bruiser kind of character.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all of a sudden they pull out their monocle and a fucking teacup and start like quipping like they're like fucking Lord Byron or some shit. And it just doesn't fit the role. It's too forced.
It doesn't come from character.
It doesn't come from character. The writer just wants them to do that, which is not the same.
Now, I will say, as like a key like thing of like the writing process, wanting a character to do a cool thing that you thought up is a perfectly valid thing to crystallize almost entire things around.
I agree, but then you have to earn it.
But you have to earn it then. You have to like set it up properly.
I will say, writing advice I've received before is that you should only write things in order. You shouldn't write scenes ahead of time. I disagree with this vehemently. Kevin, I know you also disagree with this.
Yeah.
Because my writing process personally is I will think of a very cool scene and then I will write it down. And then I do this with a whole bunch of different scenes and you piece those together into a story. And part of the motivation of that is, how do I earn that? How can I build up a convincing way to where this scene happens and people are like, yeah!
Precisely.
Yeah.
And part of that comes from you also have like an innate understanding of like, well, part of the reason that such a scene would be so cool is because of the emotion that it pays off or like builds up from.
That would be necessary for the scene to be effective.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Back to One Piece.
Yes, huge tangent.
Huge little tangent about writing stuff. So One Piece wants you to enjoy it and be affected by the story, and that's a difficult line to walk for like a shonen generally.
It is, because a lot of times you're supposed to sacrifice one of those things for the sake of the shonen power struggle.
And effectiveness is generally what they give up until suddenly we need you to understand that Frieza is a serious threat and Super Saiyan is really cool. And then they take down enjoyment for effectiveness and spend an entire episode where a man screams until his hair is blonde. But it really worked. Partially because this is the part of the story where they turn down enjoyment to turn up effectiveness, and we get to feel the little emotion roller coaster. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, the ups and the downs. I never thought about it like that. That is brilliant, huh?
Long power-ups in Dragon Ball is only in the anime?
It's in the fillers, yeah. But like that's a storytelling device. Mm-hmm. If I were to break this down by like a manga,
that's a way to fill airtime.
Yeah.
And save budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess is the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. For those who didn't know, in the manga, they just go and then they're done.
Yeah. In fact, the only one that any time is spent within the manga is the Super Saiyan 3 transformation, which, for some reason, I think it went over everyone's heads. He was stalling for time. Mm-hmm. That doesn't matter. I'm getting off topic into an even nerdier little nook. Back to One Piece.
One last thing. Super Saiyan 3 is an incomplete form. It's not that good. Anyway, sorry. Back to One Piece.
I love you.
So, One Piece, as like an effective and enjoyable story, wants you to know how to read it. Because generally with shonens, people don't really know how to read things yet when they're young and enjoying shonen things. You just sort of accept things as they come. You don't have a critical eye that actually tells you what could be happening, what's failing you or anything. So it needs to teach you.
I never really considered that as a necessary component to the shonen genre. That's interesting because it's meant for young boys.
Exactly.
So yeah, they literally wouldn't know. So you have to tell them. Huh.
And that's what One Piece does by establishing its formula, where they go to a kooky new area, they meet the people there, we learn about the stakes, somebody has like a flashback of some emotional amount, there is a final conflict, and then the emotions are resolved by the end. It teaches you how to read it, because you probably don't quite know how to what the actual parts of a story are yet. And that's part of why I want to do this, explaining the writing of it, because I think it's really interesting that it's so effective.
Yeah, awesome.
So, the aftermath of adventures in One Piece is the seed of a lot of, arcs and things. And that does a lot for making, the world feel alive. And in terms of having a character's history inform their flaws and those flaws inform the story, which is an innately compelling form of storytelling, the Usop arc does it really well. People don't like Usop. People hate on my boy Usop. But this is the moment that One Piece was okay, we've walked you through how to read One Piece now. We're going to take you a step further.
So, Usop is definitely one of the characters that made my lip curl when I first tried reading One Piece. I did not like his design. I think he looked dumb, and it's I'm supposed to be rooting for this guy. That's a pass. Which is very uninspired and ignorant and shallow of me. And as an adult, I can see Usop now. And one of the things that I gauge a character's effectiveness is, do they pass the silhouette test? And Usop nails the silhouette. From the proper angle, Usop nails the silhouette test. So
that becomes a joke later on.
Really?
That he's so recognizable.
Well, yeah, literally only the dumbest people don't recognize him when he puts on a disguise. And
that was actually Soga King.
Yeah.
That's not Usop at all. He was retired at the time.
That's funny.
Yeah, Soga King meaning Sniper King.
Yeah.
And he uses the exact same weapon as Usop.
Yeah. But he extended it into a cool staff and wears a mask.
Yeah. The only people fooled by this are Luffy and Chopper.
Yeah. So, all right. After this buggy arc, we get the Straw Hat trio right now meeting Usop. And we're immediately introduced to this man as the well-known town liar. Every morning, this guy runs up and down the streets yelling that pirates are attacking ever since his daddy left him and his mom died of backstory plague. Which ran rampant at the time, so obviously it took out at least a few important people.
Yeah, a lot of people got taken out.
It really did run through East Blue.
It was horrible.
The backstory plague just got a whole bunch of people?
Yeah.
Dang, that's how it goes.
That's how it was.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Those are the days.
So Usop, this annoying man, has this trio of equally annoying kids who all call him Captain, and they all act like pirates together on this beautiful, idyllic island where nothing goes wrong and everything's just fields of grass and fences and a nice little forest. Oh, isn't it wonderful? Luffy, upon meeting Usop, is just sort of bewildered by this also. He's like, I don't get why you're doing any of this, man. Like, he's cool with it, but he's like, this is weird. Until the very stroke of 4, and Usop says he has to leave to go meet with Miss Kaya, the orphan daughter and sole heir of the Syrup Island fortune or something. She's quite rich and equally frail and sick, and every day this lying man comes to her window and tells her stories of the great adventures he's been on, and it's the only light in either of their lives. Oh, isn't that sad and wonderful? Aren't they sweet?
Yeah, she's like a Victorian era person just randomly on this fucking island.
Yeah.
Who just dying of consumption.
Just
Has oh man.
Yeah. She has the... I'm saying consumption because I'm making the Victorian, thing, but
Yeah.
like...
she's got some kind of wasting disease.
Yeah,
like
she
a
just
deer.
has that anime disease where you're just vaguely sick all the time.
And feeble and frail.
And you or you get up and you can't like go down the stairs or some shit.
Yeah, if a scene gets too dramatic, they get the vapors.
Yeah, I
and,
was gonna say
yeah.
the vapors, but that's usually an erotic thing. Yeah, so like
it's
Oh,
it's always just some unnamed disease and yeah.
sickly constitution.
She's got it.
Yeah.
But she has this butler named Clahador who has glasses and he pushes them up on his face all weird. And Clahador hates Usop for what he assures her are merely stuffy butler reasons to hate a guy. Like he just doesn't like this kid. And this guy, Clahador, he washed up on the island 3 years ago after being taken by pirates. And then Kaya's parents took in this homeless man, gave him a job and a life here. And he's just worried that Usop is a bad influence. He even goes out to confront Usop as he's trying to tell his stories and provokes Usop to the point where Usop, like, punches him right in the face. Just...
Oh, got his ass.
Yeah. He genuinely came out to start a fight.
On paper, this butler man has every reason to hate Usop.
Oh, yeah. He's the town liar who comes to tell explicit lies to the girl roughly his own age. And, oh, this guy's dad is a pirate who, like, specifically, from the town's perspective, like, took advantage of some lady and had a kid. This kid's just going to do exactly what his dad did, but rob her or something. Like, from this perspective, I could really understand his struggles and fear. Clahador, at this point, seems quite reasonable.
Yeah. We are led to believe.
Yeah.
He's just, the strict stoic butler man.
Just a stuffy old butler man. Who cares? Now, while hiding out in the forest, Luffy goes out to find Usop and says, hey, all that shit-talking the butler did, right? Remember when he talked shit about your dad and said he was garbage and so are you? And Usopp's like, yeah, I remember. He's like, that reminds me, I think I know your dad. Do you know Yasop? And he's like, that is indeed my dad. He's like, I hung out with Yasop for like 2 years while they were hanging out in our town. Like, he's on Red-Haired Shanks' crew. And they immediately start bonding.
Oh, fun.
That was like the connection for them. Because that's the sharpshooter in Shanks' crew. And, oh my goodness, how cool and honorable pirates can be. And while they hang out for a little while, other things are happening in town. There's a mysterious man walking backwards through the streets. But also, they just sort of, like, walking around, find their way to, like, the cliffs overlooking the beach. You see, this island is basically surrounded by cliffs on all sides, except for the beachheads, which are just like one little lane that you can go up. There's one at the south end of the island and one at the north end of the island. Interesting. Moving on.
Yeah.
While they're down there at the southern beachhead, they hear Clahador. And he is just talking to a stranger below them, Django the hypnotist, who calls him Captain Kuro.
Which Django's a very strange looking man.
Django's the coolest.
With like a pharaoh style goatee.
Yeah.
And heart sunglasses.
The heart sunglasses killed me.
And he's got like, what do you call that? Like the coat.
He's got a great coat and like a fedora, and he moonwalks. He's like
I love that he moonwalks.
He's like a crazy Michael Jackson wizard.
Yeah, and
accurate.
He's a hypnotist, and his instead of using like a coin, he's got like a bladed circle.
Yeah,
thing.
chakram.
Yeah, and he's down a chain. That's how he hypnotizes you.
He got it from Xena.
Yeah, the throwing anus.
Well, they're talking, and they bring up that this is Captain. He calls him Captain Kuro. Django calls Clahador. The butler. The butler did. Anyway, they explain like you quote unquote died 3 years ago, the same time Clahador washed ashore. Their plan this whole time was to get Kaya to get hypnotized, and then she'll sign her estate over to her trusting, loving butler. And then when the rest of the crew come in to attack the town, Kaya will die in a, quote, accident. And overhearing this, Luffy's like, oh, shit! Calling attention to them immediately.
Basically, all but turns to Usop and just like, did you hear they're gonna kill her?
Yeah.
Luffy's the best.
And they're standing at the top of the cliff. So, like, Django and who we now know to be Captain Kuro, like, look over there and see, and he's like, oh no. And then Django, in self-defense quickly, does a quick draw hypnotism. You'll now fall asleep. 1, 2, Django. And then Luffy just like, and he falls asleep, falls forward off the cliff, lands on his head down on the beach, and both of them immediately look to each other like, well, that was a happy accident. We didn't have to kill him or anything. He just died regular.
He's just gone. That'll do it.
Well, okay, so importantly with Django, he is an expert hypnotist. But every time he hypnotizes himself, too.
Yeah. So he'll be like, fall asleep, and then once he gets the other guy asleep, he's also just standing there asleep in moonwalk position.
That's funny.
Usop escapes running away, assuming Luffy to have fallen to his death, and the two plotting pirates are like, so it's fine to let him go. He's literally like he's the town liar.
Yeah, no one's gonna believe this guy.
Yeah.
He's quite literally like the boy who cried wolf, just except the boy who cried pirate.
Yeah. So I want to take a little moment here to talk about setup and payoff and handling it with subtlety. I'm not going to lie and say that this is all going to be subtle stuff in One Piece. It's a shonen.
Yeah.
There's some subtlety to it, and it's very enjoyable to and effective, but it's not always subtle. Especially in the early stages of the series, you need to keep characters and storylines simple and straightforward to maintain momentum for the reader. This guy's a liar, but he lies for good. He's cowardly, but he can be provoked to anger, but both of those have roots in his virtue. That's who Usop is right now. It isn't unreasonable to avoid pain and death and be a coward a little bit. He's quite familiar with how fragile life can be. Like, his mom died, his dad left, and the only way to actually provoke him was to start talking shit about his dad. Like, they could have told him, like, we're sentencing you to death, and he'd be like, you bastards. But he wouldn't have swung on Clawdor for that. These kinds of things inform you of a basic goodness that moves him forward. Even if this behavior's probably, like, if we saw this in a real man, we would be like, he needs to go to a therapist. But, like, it speaks to the basic goodness of Usop.
Also with Usop, much like Luffy, he doesn't think of being a pirate as like a bad thing. So like when he's proud of his dad, like he says, "Oh, my dad is a pirate." He doesn't mean that like, "Oh, I love that my dad like goes around and like plunders and pillages." That he considers being a pirate like he's a brave warrior of the sea.
Yeah, he goes around righting wrongs and things.
Yeah,
hanging out with cool people and getting drunk.
He's not going around saying like, I love that my dad is a criminal.
Yeah.
Like he thinks his dad is a brave warrior.
This sort of speaks to like the earlier, like in Romance Dawn, when they made the distinction between the kinds of pirates with peace mains and Morganeers.
Yeah.
But I think it was the right move to like just keep it pirates, where it's like some people have a different idea of what being a pirate means. Because it's genuinely...
That's how that works.
Yeah.
That's how almost everything works.
So, we the readers know that Usop isn't just a liar. The villagers don't believe him as he tries to, like, warn them that, like, oh no, like, the pirates are coming for real this time. And even Kaya, who's been sort of primed for this by Kuro, is hurt by his lie, and she tries to have him run from the grounds of her home, and he's even shot by the guards when he tries to stop them from silencing him. During which Usop actually holds his own pretty well when he's actually properly motivated. He did a quick draw slingshot and, like, took out, like, 3 dudes.
Well, hell yeah.
He uses a slingshot, which is like, up until this point, he uses for like goofy pranks and shit.
Yeah.
And then but his dad is a gunslinger, and then so now when he's like fighting, you realize like, oh, Usop is a crack shot as well, like, but he uses a slingshot.
Yeah. He's not physically very strong, but he is fucking devastating with that slingshot. So the boy who cries wolf scenario for Usop ends here. Because, like, nobody believes him, and he, like, is emotionally confronted by his own behavior. So he tells his crew, I lied. Go home, there's no pirates coming. He does this because he knows that it's time for serious shit. He swore to his mother he'd be a brave warrior of the sea. He can't let these people he loves die. They don't believe him. They simply don't believe him, and that's not a failure on their part. He realizes it's because of his own behavior. So the only way to protect them it's not good enough for him to just tell them the threat's coming. He has to defend the town himself, and so he decides to. He doesn't ask the Straw Hats for their help. He goes to do it, and then the Straw Hats, because they're just like...
He saw Luffy fall off a cliff.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah,
it doesn't know he's made of rubber.
That's it, dude. That usually does it.
Yeah.
For most people, that does it. I love... That's another thing, too. Like, as cartoony and slapstick and Looney Tune-ish as One Piece is, the amount of times where, like, it's just completely fucking reasonable makes me really happy. Like, there's very few times where the villains make a decision and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, they're typically reasonable, logical people doing reasonable, logical things. Like, for example, when you hypnotize the guy you want dead and he falls off a cliff and you just assume he's dead, that's not you. That's not negligence. Yeah, like, you fall off a cliff, you usually die.
Which, people can be real tough in One Piece. Importantly, though, Luffy fell head first.
Yes.
Into rocks.
Yeah, exactly. Man. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the thing that I'm talking about with One Piece teaches you to read One Piece. You, the reader, know that. But Usopp still gets to act as the straight man, and so does everyone else.
Yeah, which is
because
fun.
You're primed for the subversion.
Yeah, which is fun and enjoyable.
Exactly.
Which is effective. It's enjoyable and effective.
Exactly. It's effective because it allows you to, like, understand why the villains are doing what they're doing and why Usopp's doing what he's doing, but it's still enjoyable because it's like, oh, he's fine. He's got Looney Tunes physics.
Because they bring that becomes a bit later, right?
Which part?
Where they're like, once they start fighting and stuff, everyone's just like, oh, Luffy's gonna show up, and they're just like, oh no, he's dead. And they're like, what happened? And they're just like, oh, he fell or something. He's like, oh, okay.
So that's what happens before they, like, all decide to work together, because at this point Usopp is like, I'm going to defend this town, and then like Zoro and Nami are like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, the pirates are coming, and then but like, I have to defend this town, and they're like, that's crazy, where's Luffy? And Usopp's like about to say, like, sorry, your friend is dead, and then Luffy just like walks up like, I've been looking for you guys for hours. I'm so fucking lost on this island. An important setup for a thing that happens later, by the way, that they get lost very easily on this island.
I also love that's a bit with Zoro, that he gets lost.
That's... So, where I'm going with this, One Piece does something excellently with character flaws. Many writers start off with characters that don't technically have flaws, or rather they try to reveal the flaw. Like, the flaw might make sense, and maybe it gives them some pathos, but it has, like, a distance from the core of the character. Your flaw is a weakness or a problem that gets overcome, and as you advance your understanding of character, you realize that the kryptonite understanding of weakness is, like, weak. It doesn't work very well for writing a character to have them have a kryptonite. All of their characters... It's a
convenient plot device for Superman to make him not completely busted.
Exactly. That was invented so the radio show could actually fucking have Superman fight just some dudes.
Which you could say is enjoyable but not effective.
Exactly.
Because it's enjoyable because it makes Superman not instantly win, so there's like, some stakes.
But it is a plot contrivance, not a part of his character.
It's very popcorny. You throw the popcorn at the screen, like, fuck you, what happens? You're not satisfied that it happens. You're just like, okay, yeah, it happened.
Now, in One Piece, the way that a character exists comes from all their flaws. Usop was raised by his mother, who loved his pirate father, but she died of illness very suddenly. And in his need for hope, Usop would tell her stories about Dad was coming home, and he would have a magical medicine, and he would learn science, and he would cure her. But he was just a kid, and that was backstory plague, which is everyone knows is incurable.
It's fatal every time. You'll never recover from backstory plague.
No one ever does.
No one ever does. 100% mortality rate. What are the doctors doing? We have to cure backstory plague. Donate your money now to this podcast.
Well, so no, the saddest part is sometimes it is curable, but they only find the cure later.
Yeah, it's too late. Or the protagonist made the cure. That was his motivation, is his parents died of backstory plague.
Yep.
And that's why he had to make the cure.
If you want to see the opposite of backstory plague being used effectively, because even in this instance I consider this to be used relatively effectively, check out Solo Leveling. They fuck up every kind of thing that they try.
Yeah.
And people love that. People love it so much. I'm a hater.
It's very pretty, but whatever.
Looks good.
Which I guess that's my consensus, is that like, oh, this is just spectacle porn.
Yeah.
Which is correct. Which is completely fine. It's a completely valid genre or type of thing to enjoy. But it's not high art.
But if we're going to look at characters, I mean, just if we look at Usopp specifically also, we get to see just from that little bit of backstory and how he's behaved in only like a few chapters, we see that he lies, but like out of a need for love and hope. Like there's no actual like nefariousness to it. He doesn't actually particularly have the desire to trick anyone.
He's not deceitful. He's just
No,
lying.
he's not even a good liar. Everyone knows when he's lying except Luffy. That's one of the running gags.
That's the bit, yeah.
He's not a good liar.
Yeah.
It's played for laughs how bad and obvious he is. But he's clever and imaginative and keeps things lively with his merry crew of underage troublemakers in town. But now pirates are coming. And he's guided by love, but he's a coward as well. Death doesn't give a fuck about hope. Even though he's shot and he can't stop his legs from shaking, he's going to stay and he's going to fight. And frankly, that's all Luffy needed to know about him at this point. There's a chance he was already on board because he's like, Yasop's cool and you're his son, we'll be boys. But as soon as he's like he hears that, he like looks at Zoro and he's like, so we're going to like whip the shit out of these pirates with him, right? This is cool. And Zoro by the way, Zoro wears black hammer pants before the time skip, and no one talks about that.
What are hammer pants?
Hammer pants? Yeah. You know, like his big puffy pants that just like taper real down at the ankle because they're just parachute pants.
Yeah, parachute pants. I was going to say, yeah. Yeah, he does wear parachute pants.
With boots, and frankly,
good look.
He looks pretty solid with them.
Yeah, solid look.
Pretty sure they're similar. But
he just wears like black pants and a white shirt.
With his Sirashi. Yeah. So everyone's on board. Zoro and Luffy want to whip these cat-themed pirates' asses, and Nami is like, if you let me loot the bodies, we'll all be good. The plan is simple. The beach has one hill path up past the cliff. They've oiled the path into a quagmire, and once the pirates start slipping and sliding, they pick 'em off easy pickings. No pirates make it up this hill, and just like he said, this day will be just another day that Usop lied about pirates attacking. Everyone in town won't even have to worry about this. Dawn approaches. And no pirates show up, because like I said before, there are two beachheads. And why would they come to the same beachhead that they were discovered at?
Yeah.
So they went to the other one. Which, leads to them needing to get to the other end of the island. Luffy says, I'll be there in 20 seconds. And he starts running into the woods with no direction. So we don't see him again for a minute. Nami is like, okay, let's start heading there. Oh no, my treasure's over there. I have to hurry. And so she starts to run, and then she's like, and she starts slipping into the oil, and she grabs Zoro and just drags him into the oil as she like fully climbs him and gets up, and she's like, I'll come back for you. And he's like, you asshole! as he's trying to climb this thing, he eventually gets up, but Zoro and Luffy both, frankly, can't show up too early. That's really what's happening. It would be a damn bloodbath. We still haven't gotten to see Full Power Zoro, by the way, for I think that reason. It would be a damn bloodbath.
Yeah.
He's a well-known pirate hunter who every time that we've seen him do anything, he's always like down half of all the blood in his body.
And I think there's a few shows that actually pull this off where they make a formidable character. They purposely put them in situations where they can't do anything and just like clip their wings so that they don't like trivialize the first few episodes.
Exactly.
Another example of this is my favorite French anime, Wak Fu.
Oh, yes.
They play Percival, I forget exactly how you're supposed to say it. He comes off entirely incompetent in the first few episodes.
Yeah.
And then when it's actually like, it's time to scrap, and he's not in a situation where he's like, the plot derives him or forces him to be in a powerless position. Oh shit, he's actually a master swordsman. Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize he was actually competent. What?
He just doesn't have any of the other stats that you guys have been making him roll this whole time.
Yeah, so in Waka Fu, it's much more comedic, but but I noticed that in One Piece, like Zoro basically, he gets slapstick bits to not be useful.
Yeah.
Or does something like, I'm going to stab myself, fuck you, I ain't a bitch. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Which is a slapstick bit in its own right. Like,
it's just taken to its samurai extreme.
Yeah.
So the way we get to see like these burgeoning Straw Hats become fuller characters is by the way they interact with each other. Because the first couple of arcs, we get to like understand what kind of person they are. That's what an introduction is for. You get to learn what kind of person that is. And then once you're past that and you get to the next arc where you get to be a little deeper into character like this one, we get to see them all like, how do they interact together? And they do things like Luffy runs off without any direction, and then when he shows up again, he gets mad like, you guys didn't even point me in the right direction. And they're like, you didn't ask, we thought you knew.
Yeah, right.
And Zoro is like angry with Nami, and Nami's like, but I had to get to my treasure. Like, it's
priorities.
We get to see a little bit more of their character. And frankly, in your own writing, after you have a character introduced and like they exist to the reader, a reader could like tell you a little bit about that character, just putting them in the same scene with somebody else that they have to talk to, that's where they get to bloom. We get to see more and more of them.
In fact, if two characters interact with each other and there isn't an instant like either conflict or connection, then you've written the characters are written poorly.
The characters are written poorly, and like everyone does either get along or not get along in a story. And like the parts that they get along for and the parts that they don't get along for, that can change. There's a lot of like roller coasters that happen in the drama of storytelling.
Which to clarify, existing in the same space as someone else and saying nothing is still getting along.
Yes. In the like it'll be interpreted by your readers perhaps as like a mutual respect or like an understanding that like they can't mess with each other, or even like just a politeness.
Yeah, because you've done your work exactly. You've done your work well when the reader just assumes that, even though the characters have done nothing. They've both been characterized throughout the story and have this own things that are associated with them. That like the silence is either that's them being awkward, or there's a mutual, like you say, mutual respect. That's you doing that yourself because you've already grown to know these characters and therefore you're able to do that. But if that doesn't happen and it's just blank and nothing happens, and you feel the need that, or rather when you're writing it you feel as though nothing happens, they're not characterized well.
And a sign of excellent characterization is when you get to subvert these things. One of the examples that I'd give that's just a quick one that I think a lot of people would like is One Punch Man.
Whoa, so good.
One Punch Man.
A master class in bathos.
It loves to subvert your expectations, especially with the one big subversion that is the premise of the series where he kills things with one punch. But also, like, so much of the story isn't that. So much of One Punch Man is everyone else is in a serious world where, like, if they don't fight hard enough, they'll get got by this lizard man. And then One Punch Man shows up and he punches somebody into like blood salsa.
Yeah.
And it's funny. But building up your audience's expectation of what's going to happen and then subverting it is how subversions can be good.
Yes.
A subversion isn't no payoff. A subversion is a different payoff. Ideally, a better one. We're not just going to get ice cream, we're going to Disneyland.
Yeah.
The Brando Sando covers this tremendously well, but I'm reading One Piece and I'm talking right now, and I'm very selfish.
Basically, to sum up what he just said, it is so much more satisfying to watch Saitama punch a hole in the Sea King after Mugen Rider did everything he could, including riding his bicycle into him.
I cried.
Which is... it's not going to do anything. He knows it's not going to do anything, and he still tries.
I cried at the Mugen Rider scene. The Mugen Rider scene to me is like that. God,
you know why?
I'm holding it back just thinking about it, man. Like, that is the epitome of, like, heroism. It's not about accomplishing anything. It's about trying.
Let me tell you another thing about why you feel that way. It's because especially when, like, especially in comedy, this is, like, an easier thing to approach. Because, like, you learn subversion very quickly writing comedy. That's the premise of how jokes work.
Right.
But, like, when you understand subversion to this level, you can use the, like, buildup of effectiveness and loss of enjoyment to switch very quickly the emotional extremes. Because One Punch Man is all enjoyment generally. But then when he's not able to show up, and Mugen Rider's the only one there, and all these people are going to die, there's no enjoyment there. He's getting beaten bloody in the street.
God, it's so hard to watch.
Hard to watch. Until...
And then you're like, yeah, get his ass, Saitama!
Yeah! And that is why enjoyment and, like, effectiveness, they're not equals. They have to maintain, like, levels for each other for the audience to feel each scene as more effective, more enjoyable, like, and it forms a roller coaster. It's tension and release, setup and payoff, build up and subversion. All of these things come down to the same basic understanding of how to write drama and how to write character. Because all of this comes down to, wouldn't it suck if that happened to that guy? Wouldn't it rule if he got saved? Because he deserves it. He's a good hero. And guess what? So is Usop. Usop, in spite of everything that he is a great hero. He's pathetic. He is a liar. He is a coward. And all of these things drive him to be a better hero. Because once he realizes there's no getting around this, I have to stand up for this. He does. He does it with shaking legs. Even as those pirates show up, and it's just him and Nami at the other beachhead. The other two guys didn't show up at all. And him and Nami are like, he has a slingshot and she has a stick.
Yeah, God bless.
But he throws out
Pirates
caltrops. He's immediately like, well, I still got to do this. He throws out caltrops, and Nami's like, that's great, I'll help you throw caltrops. And then the pirates are rushing up, and they're stabbing up their feet, and Nami's like, all right, let's back off a little bit, and you can shoot him with your... Oh, I threw some caltrops behind us, Usop. Oops.
Uh-oh.
And he's like, you asshole, you've never thrown caltrops a day in your life, have you? And she's like, no, I haven't. I've never done it.
A thieving character.
Yeah.
Not a trapping guy right there.
And so those pirates, like, they finish getting foot stabbed, and then they, like, get there. And they smash Usop over the head with, like, a hammer that, like, is a cinder block the size of his head. And just blood out of Usopp's poor, idiot, unprotected head. And then he's just on the ground, essentially dead. But he still grabs the guy's ankle and is like, I've got you now, you bitch. You'll never get out of my grasp. I've got 100 men waiting in the forest for you. And they're like, no, you do not, Usop. Calm down. So, the characters' flaws bring them to these positions, which end up showing their virtues. During all of this, like, scene where we're actually able to see, like, Nami and Usop could die here. A man with a knife could take out either one of them, and this is a crew of murderous pirates who were told today they have to go raid on behalf of their captain who left them 3 years ago to plan the perfect heist. They're very motivated.
Not just murderous pirates. Murderous furry pirates.
All of them wearing cat ears, and they have thematic equipment. Anyway.
They're some of the least, like, threatening looking pirates.
Yeah, they're really not.
I remember them looking pretty silly.
Ironically, they are the most threatening pirates that we've seen so far.
Oh, yeah.
These are the only pirates who are
silly.
like, I'm going to go into town and actually commit pirate crime.
Yeah, I'm going to...
The ones that we're known for.
I'm going to harm and wrong these people on unimaginable levels.
Yeah. I brought my giant hammer I made from a stone that I used to smash guys' heads in with.
Pretty bad, dude.
Pretty fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
And now they're going into town, and Usop is laid out on the ground, and Nami basically, like, hid. She's like, sorry, Usop,
Yeah,
bye.
that's it. Yeah, I'm out.
And then as they get up the hill, we just see, like, all those pirates who made it up the hill just, like, get blown up, like, bah! Luffy and Zoro have arrived.
Just in time.
Now, when you see all of these, like, characters make little changes and have their motivations revealed, we see them, like, gain a level of power. But in terms of, like, my dumb theory crafting, I'm going to take a little moment here. We get to see in this arc that even though, like, Usop, the motivation man, I'm calling him because he's the most motivated in this arc, even when the motivation man is down, once Luffy, like, hears them, like, be cruel to his dreams and wanting to keep the peace, he does his, like, intimidation move, which we will in the future associate with Conqueror's Haki. This is the part of the story where I think we're starting to see Haki as a concept start to get felt out a little bit by the author. For those who don't know, Haki is the power system available to everyone in the world. No magical satanic fruits needed. It's something any person can train in to become powerful. We'll see later there's CP9 special guys who went through training to break through their physical limits. And Django, as a hypnotist, he hypnotizes the whole crew that got beat up to heal their wounds and make them stronger and surpass their physical limits. The tension is raised, and as they heal and beef up, elsewhere we see Captain Kuro has grown impatient waiting for his raiding crew and begun to head towards the beach. But now the crew is strong enough to, like, break rocks with their hands. It's looking bad. And Luffy also fell for that hypnotism. He is also healed, and he is also strong, and he just runs down and he rips, like, the front of their boat off.
Oh, man.
Like, he's completely gone. And then he gets hypnotized again, like, stop breaking our ship and fall asleep, and Luffy falls asleep because we need a few more minutes before another bloodbath happens, pretty much.
Yeah.
And he calls on the ship guardians, who are essentially, like, the elite members of this crew that are actually strong. These two guys, Butchie and Siam.
They're the cat team from My Hero Academia,
Yeah.
except it's just two dudes. But literally they show up and they're like meow, and they got like big paw things and shit. Like
Yeah.
it's.
So Zoro tries to engage them, and they snatches two of his swords, so he only has one sword, because we're still not allowed to see full power Zoro yet. And Zoro fights both of them with one sword, and it's looking like a hard fight until Nami, like, kicks his swords over, and then once he, like, has his swords, it's one shot. He takes out both of them instantly. They are not strong enough.
Badass.
But, like, there's a scene where, like, Captain Kuro finally arrives and introduces his anime flash step. He can appear behind you. Nothing personal, kid.
He's also got, like, his personal weapon is like
these
Freddy Krueger times
I love it, dude.
7.
They're furry cat gloves that have, like, katana blade claws.
I love it. Any character that has claw powers or some sort of, like, claw weapon, I'm in love with. And look no farther than Warhammer 40,000. Very few things make me think, fuck yeah, than the Power Claw.
The power claw is so metal.
Specifically, the Warp Talons of the Heretic Astartes. Basically, it's a space marine, a somewhat demonically possessed space marine in a jump pack with 2 Power Claws. And they come out of the warp and just screech and pounce on you. And that is one of the most terrifying fates that exists in the 41st millennium.
Well, also, there's a little character tick he does that lets you
Yes.
know that these are his weapon of choice because
The way-
he wears glasses
Yes.
and he adjusts them in one way only.
With the heel of his palm, so that he doesn't get his fingertips, which are they have like a 2-foot long blade attached to each of them, Don't go near his
Yeah,
face.
I forgot about that. That is fun.
A real fun, interesting concept. They actually he sort of stretched his legs a little bit with how Kuro exists as a character. Like, just making him a little bit more fully designed. Before we get into the climax of that fight, we get to see Kaya learn the truth from the butler that Kuro cut down on his way out. And Usop's crew knows, like, oh, he lied about lying. And they all walk down to the beach, and she tries to confront Kuro and is like, I hate violence, please just stop. I'll give you all of my estate, just get out of here. And the one thing we learned about Captain Kuro is he was very considerate in his planning. Like, he knew exactly what he wanted and what he didn't need. He wasn't doing things this way because it was, like, easy or, like, the best for, like, pirating. He left his crew in the hands of Django so he could infiltrate here, but in truth he doesn't much care for being a pirate. He likes living here and having peace of mind that there's no Marines on him. And if he accepts her money, that'll just be like another charge added to the bounty for Captain Kuro. And he'd rather be Clawhador, the retired former butler living in the biggest house on Peaceful Island. And all those times Kaya had with her faithful servant, he saw that as like a fucking humiliation for like that he was paying until his final payoff, and he really just desires leisure and peace. He's an indoor cat now. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't want those feral seas anymore. But he is still like a predator, first and foremost. And that lying little prick punched him right in the face, so I'm going to go ice his ass real fast.
Also, real quick, it's hilarious how he gets the other butler. Because he's just, like, doing something. And he's just like, oh, hey, Clawhador. Like, how are you? And he's like, and he just stabs him. He's just like, why?
Got his ass.
He's genuinely, it comes off as he's like, I haven't done anything villainous enough yet. I need to ramp up my
I need you to
villainy.
really hate me.
Yeah. Which gets, all of that, of course, gets Luffy in the mood to punch Kuro right in his face. Because Kuro is like, I would prefer it if I got to murder you as part of this plan. Usopp's crew shows up, and thinking quickly, Usopp gets them to protect Kaya, and they run off into the forest to have their little side adventure with Django chasing them. We're not going to deal with that too much, because that's just to raise tension. Raising tension is a good thing to do, because they are all the characters who can't actually make a difference in the fight, but what they can do is add urgency to the fight. So if they're going to be there, that's what they sort of are supposed to do. At this point, also, one of the cat guys got enhanced by the hypnotism to superpowers, and he, like, smashes the ground, and we see that with a thing that people do with hockey later, so I once again believe that this is, like, the beginnings of making the hockey system. But once again, Zoro, as soon as he's like, okay, now I'm actually going to fight him, he cuts him down in one move.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
Zoro is still very much, like, we don't know quite how strong he is, probably about as strong as Luffy. Which is how it stays, pretty much. So, also, a small tangent about the cover art. We get to see the arc of Buggy the Clown.
Yeah, because he's just the head, right?
He's just a head and hands and feet.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's so cute.
Luffy smacked his ass into the distance, but we get to see through a couple of the cover art things. He survived, he made a little raft, he got chased by fish, and then chased by birds that he was trying to eat. And, That's fun, right? We get to see all that. It's also canon. For those of you who don't know, the pieces of, like, things that say, like, little side story or anything on them where we see, like, a character going through things, those are canon. And I'll be picking up on them here and there because they add more to the story, in my opinion. They're not something that's big enough to warrant, like, adding to the text, but having them in the world and in the story still works.
It's fun. I like it.
Is the little guy in the chest, is he canon? Is he in the manga?
He is in the manga.
Okay. So Buggy makes friends with this guy on an island who appears to just be like hands and feet and a head coming out of a chest.
Yeah.
Like a treasure chest.
Okay. And
it's because he was a dude and he fell ass first into the treasure chest, and now he's like a hermit crab. Like,
yes.
That's
and
funny.
he's been stuck like that for like 20 years.
Yes. And he lives on the island like Disney princess style. He's made friends with all the animals, and then Buggy shows up and they hang out.
Quick theory corner for a second.
Because they're both little head
guy
hand
things,
guys.
yeah.
Quick theory corner for a second for those of you who exist in the future with me, who keep up with One Piece and its thousands of chapters. That island mysteriously had 5 specific chests on it that are about human size or human child size. And everything else on this island is a strange exotic animal. And recently we've learned that there's a thing that the most powerful and rich of the One Piece world do every couple of years, where they will set up treasure chests, normally that contain some kind of slave child, on an island, along with specific exotic creatures you can't find anywhere else, sometimes specific exotic kinds of humans. And then they all do a most dangerous game hunt to get the fancy slave treasure chests and kill all the things that they brought onto the island. And this guy on this island was trying to look for these treasure chests that he knew were there because he found this one empty, but he saw up at the top of a cliff there were 5 others just like it. And as he tried to climb up there, he fell backwards into the chest, which is what trapped him there. Anyway, I think there's a chance that this is one of the islands that the rich people used for that thing, which is intrinsically related to the backstory of Shanks. Because Shanks went through that.
The deep lore.
Yes. Anyway. The thing that I think you should take away from this arc is making use of what you have. And, like, your characters are part of that. I can't and won't say whether or not anything I or anyone else has written was all one masterful plan. Like, One Piece is like, oh, it's all coming together, it's all perfect. Every aspect of every character, another perfectly placed cog in the Swiss watch of the final work. That's simply asking too much for everything to be that way. But doesn't it sometimes feel like a story is perfectly placed and tightly written and everything was inevitable? Some probably are. Some writers are really good, I won't lie. Like, I'm not going to say, like, I'm the only good... Like, there's some guys, they really have it on lock. So for the rest of us, however, we have a few rules that can guide us towards a more perfect creation. Character, theme, setting, plot, story are your basic tenets, and they're all truly Voltron together to make a story. They inform each other if you let them. And the best place to start is by using what you already have. As Haki's developed in One Piece, it encompasses several past characters, like abilities. Shanks and Luffy's intimidation becomes Conqueror's Haki. We see characters who have been enhanced by Django or bolstered by, like, armor Haki visuals. And Butchie shatters the earth in a way many characters do with Haki-enhanced attacks. There's a chance Kuro is using Haki as well, because he's, like, doing flash step and all this, like, dodging impossibly quickly. Be that as it may, that's much later. That's more of like a power system using what you already have, which is good, but it's not exactly what I'm talking about. Really interesting part of this arc, we get to see the flashback of Captain Kuro when he decided to do this plan. When he decided to fake his defeat, he attacked a marine ship on his own, and he captured 2 marines. He dressed one up as himself and had Django hypnotize him into taking the place of Captain Kuro to be arrested by the marines. The only other survivor of the ship, the captain, is who would be doing the arrest. Kuro broke his jaw pretty easily and, like, stomped on his ass. And suppose that once this guy turned in the dread Captain Kuro, even this dumb asshole would be rewarded handsomely and not question the hypnosis that he had captured Captain Kuro. That man was Captain Axehand Morgan, who captured Zoro. He would be given station above his ability, and his ego would run wild with being the one who defeated Kuro. He would plate his shattered jaw and replace his right hand with his axe, before capturing Zoro 3 years later. Interesting world building, right? That's a microcosm of using what you have. In this arc, we get a boy who cried wolf to experience every beat of development that he could in this space. We established him as a liar, he spoke truth, nobody listened, he stayed, fought for peace, and was seen as the lovable goofball he really is, rather than like the annoying liar guy. Those who believed in him were vindicated, as love and goodness prevailed over the negative emotions of annoyance and anger. Every avenue of this character, who many don't see as particularly important to the story, you're all wrong by the way, Usop rules, but he's explored to the fullest of his environment. He can't grow any further from here, he's gone through everything here. Oda has made use of everything that Usop already was. All that's left is for him to become more now. So he has to leave. After this fight ends, he ends up joining the crew. See, the first thing that happens when you write a story is you need to establish what the story is and who it's about. You introduce your main characters, the story's thesis, the theme, very light, no consequences for our characters in the first little bit. They haven't done anything yet for us to feel the weight of them. And then you need to settle your reader into the world and what they should see as a threat, and a threat to the characters. This doesn't just pertain to battle manga. This could be like a mystery or a secret, or just the movements of drama that always act as a threat to the character's peace as they move on the path of their motivations drive them down. And how they respond to these things inform the reader of who the character is. We've gotten off the local roads and onto the highway, so to speak, with this arc. We get the gist of things. We've been taught how to read One Piece. So what's next? Your story doesn't exist in a vacuum. The world's pushed by its inhabitants, and those inhabitants act based off their motivations, and their methods are informed by their flaws, and those flaws exist because of that character's history. One leads into the other, if you let it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have an understanding of your characters, you'll see how they fit together just by using them. They won't always work how you expect them to. Sometimes a character is most fun to follow when paired with someone else that you don't particularly like. Like, there's always unlikely pairings that work out so well. And this is a dumb one, but Family Guy, Stewie and Brian are both just Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, that's a good
He
point.
never wanted them to work like together as a story duo.
No.
He wanted it to be Peter and Brian, who are also both Seth MacFarlane, but we're writers, we're narcissists.
Yeah, Stewie was just an evil baby. That
Yeah.
was the original Stewie. That was the bit, is that he was an evil baby. They make him like a fey, snarky character.
And now they're the two characters that always work together, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because we got to see them work together. Because we used them. Sometimes as you develop your story, the little blank spots in your characters will be filled in just by seeing where they fit in this way. This island is within a few days' sailing of that naval base. It must be for the story to work. And all this is still pretty close to Luffy's hometown, because it has to, for the story to work. Wouldn't Shanks' crew have probably stopped here on their way? They stopped at every friggin' island in East Blue, basically. Pirates are rascals. Why wouldn't one of them have a kid here? The world exists. It informs itself. That's why Usop is related to Yasopp, but it's also why Morgan captured Zoro. Zoro got lost here because that's also part of his character flaw. He's a directionless man in every sense of the word. He just wants to get better at sword fighting, but since he doesn't have like a passion that drives him, he doesn't want to be king of the pirates or a marine. But once he's given direction, he gets to shine. Your characters work together when you let them. Once you have all of this, you get to what most people would call like inevitable. I call them the little inevitables. The emotional end of the arc, when Usop disbands his crew after like the fight has ended, he asks everyone to deny everything that happened. Like, say nothing happened today. Maybe we had a party down on the beach and that's why it's all fucked up, but like, don't tell anyone pirates came. You'll just be disturbing their peace. This was a sort of an inevitability for him, wasn't it? To go from the liar nobody believed to a liar they did believe because it was subverted in the end, because he changed.
Fun.
It's an exploration of your character's flaws will always tell you more about who they are, but also it will let them explore the world and change it themselves in the way that only they would or could. He has to leave. He's grown beyond the annoying kid into somebody willing to face his fears in pursuit of his dream to be a brave warrior of the sea. He has to leave. He initially plans to go out on his own, but with some convincing, he joins Luffy's crew, but is disappointed he can't be captain. He warns Luffy he's still gunning for the job, and Luffy still accepts him on happily. He wasn't just accepted to the crew because he was Yasopp's son, or he's good with a slingshot, or because Luffy thinks he's funny. He's a character driven by goodness to follow a grand dream despite his fear and weakness. He will not falter. Luffy, a man whose flaw at his core is intolerance to stagnation and refusing your dreams. They make a great team. They're a dreamer and a man who can't stand people who hate not dreamers. The characters work together because of their flaws. And in terms of writing a character, the more you get a handle on your character's flaws and why they would have those flaws, the easier it will be to put them in any situation and make it a good story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not to undercut everything Kevin was just saying, which was very insightful and very broad for characters, but the climax fight of that little arc, Luffy versus Kuro is the first time Luffy is actually like properly challenged.
Yes, it is. So
I
before
just wanted to throw that up.
during the fight itself,
He actually gets his ass beat for a little bit.
yeah, Luffy like, I mean, first of all, Luffy probably like being a rubber man is part of the reason why we're facing a cat team and he has sword hands, because now we have we've reached a point where the reader understands the weakness of Luffy as Blades. So in order for a character to immediately be perceived as a threat, he becomes Blades, but he doesn't ever like use the Blades to his advantage to make him a threat to Luffy. He fucking disrespects the shit out of Luffy and kicks his ass.
Yeah,
he's faster.
Yeah, he can flash stab.
Yeah, he has a Musou.
Yeah.
Where he like he uses like what is it in World of Warcraft where like the rogue will like shadow step behind like everybody in the room and do like one big attack on everybody.
Killing spree.
Yeah.
Well,
that's one of his moves.
The funniest attack that I always remember is Luffy does the extendo punch, and then he runs on his arm and then just hits him in the face.
Yeah, just disrespects the shit out of him.
It's very funny.
That's so good.
Kuro's a very serious character compared to like everyone else that we've seen, because even like the other characters who were like angry and like trying to kill Luffy out of like hatred, like they were still a little bit silly. Kuro is like fully like, I just want to live in peace, and I'm willing to kill anybody to make that happen.
Well, and it's good writing too, because like unlike Buggy and Morgan, Kuro's in the home stretch.
Yeah,
like
his plan's almost up.
Motherfucker, like I've won. All I have to do is silence you assholes, and this is it. I've done it. So like his motivation is probably as high as it can possibly go in those scenes. He has every reason to be as serious as possible.
He's literally, I would have gotten away with it too.
Yeah,
he
really is.
He really is.
He really is. Oh no.
We talked about it briefly. Also, Kuro's also one of the only guys who gets away.
Yeah.
Like
he does.
Like Luffy,
no idea what he's been doing.
Knocks his ass out partway through the fight and like launches him into the distance.
Doesn't he show up later and he just did the same thing somewhere else? He's just like retired somewhere on a fake name.
We looked into it a bit. He like the only other times he's shown up have been like one semi-canon scene in a video game where he like gets invited to like a thing, and then there's one canon scene where I think it's because Usop does something and like he reads about it. And someone's like, so are you coming out of retirement? And he's like, how the hell did you get this number? Who are you? And the implication is like he might be coming out of retirement. This character might be coming back somewhat. But that's also like 1,000 chapters down the line. And maybe it's going to be for a different thing. Maybe it's just going to be for like a cameo at the end.
Maybe he goes to the moon.
Maybe he goes to the moon. I have such moon-based theories to vomit up on all of you. You're not going to believe it.
Is One Piece also going to be another series where I have to say shut the fuck up about Moon Men?
The good news about that is you're going to love these Moon Men.
That's good.
They're cute little guys.
Oh, hell yeah. I love a little guy.
Yeah. And Eminem is their leader now.
Based. And with that, we're going to end tonight's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy the nature of this content, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and give us a follow on Blue Sky. And you can support us on our Patreon. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.